bitch, you a bird, you thigh, you learn, you see, I earn, you stop. A word, I shoot, no rim, I'm high, you burn, I'm me, that's him, you nah, that's word.
Ladies and gentlemen, first interview of 2024. Honored to be joined by Westin Wilson, fighting January 13th, kicking off his UFC season for the year. Westin, how we doing, man?
Doing good, doing good. Holidays were a great little break, even though I got to take a break. But it's nice. I did from work, just not from fighting.
Well, we have something in common, not the same caliber, but you're fighting on January 13th. I'm doing my first jiu-jitsu tournament on the 13th, so I completely understand your
Nice.
pain with not being able to eat through the
division?
holidays. We say what?
What division are you doing?
I'm just a white belt, 155. Gonna give it a go, see what happens,
Nice. You got to start somewhere.
Exactly. But yeah, couldn't eat during the holidays, so I assume you're in the same boat there. Had to watch
Yep.
everyone else eat.
Yep.
No fun, man. But you're less than 2 weeks out now, and I assume camp's been going well. You at Upstate Karate still?
Yeah. At Upstate Karate, I got to go out to New Wave Jiu-Jitsu in Austin as well for this camp. So a lot of good things coming back post Wonderboy's fight. We hitting it hard. It was that last little bit. There's a little extra motivation to get went back in the win column for me and for the team.
Yeah.
After the Shavkat loss. So it's been good. It's a good little set of motivation and good pressure that we put on myself for this fight.
And I guess, I'd be stupid not to ask, how is Wonderboy doing? You talked to him at all since the loss?
Yeah, he's been on the mats with me. Obviously not training. He broke his foot in 2 places in the fight. Yeah. But he's been on the mat. He's been kind of coaching from the sidelines, scouting out my opponent and gave me some really good feedback for things to watch out for, things to do, where we have opportunities and advantages. So it's been good these last 2 weeks, kind of getting in that, that look and that new game plan together.
And does this camp feel different than your debut? Because this is, you got like a full camp this time, you're not fighting on a however many weeks notice.
So it's going to be weird. I prefer to fight on short notice. I prefer to fight like with little prep time. I hate preparing this long. For me, it was good though because we switched opponents with 4 weeks left. So it's kind of like, oh, okay, I've got 4 weeks to kind of prepare for somebody new and change up things. So in that regard, it's been good. But no, I hate like training for. I've known about this fight for almost 12 weeks, I think. And it's miserable. Like it's miserable knowing about the fight and training for the fight like this long.
Yeah, that's just physical and mental stress right there for 3 months. So I understand.
Yeah. More mental than physical because like I train the same way every day year round. Like I don't really like switch up how I train. It's just more of the I think mental and emotional stress of going through that cycle of, okay, I've got a fight coming up. I gotta, I don't want to go like too hard in relaxation. I don't want to go too hard in my diet too early and things like that. And so it's having that much time to prepare and think about it. I think it's not fun.
And then who's going to be coming with you to be in your corner for this one?
So I actually got Sweet T, Tony Thompson, Wonderboy's brother. I've got Coach T, and then I've got Steve Davini.
Awesome, man. Looking forward to it. Taking on Gene Silva, as we mentioned, an opponent switch up. Before I ask you about Gene, how does that, switch up affect things in camp or even mentally? Gabriel Santos, now someone completely different in Gene Silva.
So stylistically, like they're similar, but they're not, right? So like Gene will switch stances, Gabriel Santos switches stances, but Santos primarily southpaw, Gene's primarily orthodox. Both pretty dynamic strikers. I think Gene, I from what I saw in his Contender Series fight, I think Gene's a little bit more dynamic of a striker. But I don't know his grappling. And Gene, there's like no film on him, nothing. Like I only had his Contender Series fight to go off of. So like it's a big question mark on what he can and can't do in the cage. But he's exciting, and there's one thing in my career I've never had is like one of those like 3-round wars. Like I either get finished or finish my opponents.
Yeah, right.
So I'm hoping that this is one where we have like a 3-round war, and it's just a super exciting fight. And that's what I hope to do. Obviously, if the opportunity presents itself to finish him early, I'm going to finish him early. But we are both at that next level now. So the competition, everybody's tough. Everybody's hard to get out of there. So hopefully we can have one of those like Robbie Lawler, Rory McDonald-esque fights. And I could cap the year off with like a fight of the night. That's what I'm hoping for.
I mean, you're a madman because I don't know who wants that, but as a fan, oh boy, you're getting me excited for this one, dude.
I don't want it either, but like I do. I like low key I do because I've never had that, and I want at least one war where it's like, oh, like I talked to Wonderboy about it, and he's like, oh yeah, one of his favorite fights is Tyron Woodley won the title fight, and that was a bananas fight. Like that one fight of the night. And then even like the Holland fight was crazy as well. So
yeah.
Like Wonderboy's had those fights, and so I'm like, I've gotta do it. I've got to just have a fight where we have a slugfest and blood each other up.
Hey, fair enough. That like I said, no complaints from me in that department. And then when you look at your style and Gene's style, I guess go a little deeper into that. Like, what do you see that could potentially make that fight go 15 minutes?
A lot of people haven't gotten to see my striking as of recent because they'll take me down, I'll submit him. So hopefully, I don't think he's going to shoot takedowns on me. I think he's going to look to try to stand, and so we'll stay on the feet. And I think I have a lot of range on him. My style, he fights very similar to an old teammate of mine, so I'm used to like seeing what he's got. But he does throw a lot of like elbows and knees inside. He does like to dirty box. So I think that leans to potentially an exciting fight. Like if he gets on the inside, we'll fight on the inside. But then once I get to the outside, I'll be able to pick him apart and throw really flashy karate shit.
Yeah, right. And this fight, obviously there's an opponent switch up, but now you have Gene Silva, UFC debutant. Last time for your debut, they kind of threw you into the wolves short notice against Brito. So how are you looking at that, like change of caliber in opponents? Like, are you like, do you feel better going into this one compared to Brito, or doesn't really matter? You're a fighter, you can take on anyone. What are your thoughts there?
So I'm kind of like in the middle of the road between that. Like, doesn't really matter. I'm a fighter, but at the same time, Brito is phenomenal. He's a really good fighter. But I think Gene Silva is a really good fighter too. He had an amazing fight on Contender Series. He's young, and I don't know. For me, it's like I see a similar opponent. Like I see a very similar opponent to Brito, and so it's more of like just get in there and test out the waters. Like I don't know. Like I said, like I know like he's not at Brito's level yet, but he could be.
Sure,
he could get there. So yeah, I don't look at it as that. Like I knew going into the Brito fight, like how good he was, but I also am going into this fight and I expect Gene Silva to be, top 15 level experience. That's how I have to mentally prepare myself, is like I expect him to be, one of the best in the world as well. Whether he is or isn't, like I don't know that, but I'm going to treat it as if he is like the best in the world.
I just got done an interview with Landon Quinones, who's fighting in the UFC on February 3rd, and his debut was a short notice fight against Nasrat Haqparast. So I asked him a very similar question, and his answer was similar in regards to, I think he said, well, UFC fighters, like every one of us is dangerous, every one of us is talented and good. So I feel like you kind of this the same way too.
Yeah, I mean, anything. The thing is, it's a fight, and anything can happen. Like, there's definitely fights I've lost that I shouldn't have, and then there's fights I've won that I shouldn't have. So, I think anything can happen. It's a game of I hate this saying, but mostly because I beat a kid and his teammate was commentating and he quoted it, and it made me mad. It's a game of inches and seconds. He was saying like, oh, the kid shouldn't have lost, but he lost to me anyways because it's a game of inches and seconds and whatever. But anyways, with that being said, it is, and at this level, like, anything can happen. I could move the wrong way, boom, I get caught, or he could move the wrong way, boom, he gets caught. Like, that's what it is.
Best sport in the world, baby. They call the game of inches for a reason. And Westin, with a big win here, man, your first UFC win. What's next for you, ideally? Timeline for return?
So with a win, I'm really, really, really hoping that I get to fight on the same card as Wonderboy. Like, it's been something that we've talked about for years and years and years. Wonderboy's never gotten to fight on the same card as a teammate, minus Chris Weidman, but like, where we have the same exact coaches and same exact corners and things like that. So for me, my next fight, I don't care who it is, I would just really like to fight on the same card as Wonderboy. I think it'd be extremely fun.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome, man. And then I know you're newer to the UFC, still searching for your first win, but obviously you still have things you want to do. So are there any names of fighters, either ranked, unranked, not a call out necessarily, but just people you are excited to and want to fight someday?
Somebody asked me this question before they told me who in the top 15 would I want to fight. And I said Bryce Mitchell just because I think he's hilarious. He's awesome, dude. He's actually supposed to come out and train with us like a month ago and ended up not. But like, out of no like ill feelings or anything like that, like, I just think his grappling style is super exciting, and I would love to test my grappling ability against somebody like him.
Pick up a couple wins, get them ranks, and you and Bryce can go roll around on the canvas. That'd be awesome, man.
Yeah.
He is a funny dude. I had him on my podcast, and he was talking to us about how one of his main training partners is his bull, like a cow that he has named Twister. We're just like, dude, what are you saying, man? So he's a character. He's a character for sure.
Yeah. No, I have nothing but respect for all of them. Like, there's really like no call out or anything like that. I would like to fight. My next fight, I'd like to fight more of a grappler than a striker, but it is what it is.
Yeah, man. And then, I don't know, is this your first interview of 2024? Have you gotten one in yet?
No, this is my very first.
Let's go
with Jake.
Well, hey, when you look back on this in a year from now, what do you want to say you have accomplished? Like, what goals do you have for yourself this upcoming year?
Man, I got some big goals, for MMA, for my life, everything else. But really, I just want. My big overarching goal is I hope that I inspire people, that people look up to me and say, man, if that kid can do it, anybody can do it, and that's what I want. Like, I just hope that. In 2024, I've inspired a ton of new people to take up the sport. I've inspired other people to pursue their dreams, and you're not too old, you're not too young. Like, you can do it, man. Like, that's like getting signed at 34. I'll be 35 in 3 weeks. I'm a testament that you're not too old, you're not too young, you're not too anything but what you set your mind to.
Love it, man. Beautiful. And Westin, before I get you out of here, last thing from me. You have so many fans, a lot of people watching this card, people watching this interview, yada, yada. That being said, anything you'd like to say to everybody? If so, the mic is yours. Take it away.
All right. Well, tune in January 13th. Hopefully I put on, a fight of the year candidate fight. Definitely fight of the night, but we shall see. Yeah. And if you're not following me, follow me on Instagram at Westin Wilson. Hopefully we'll have some more content this year than I have in the past years.
Yeah, I'll link all your social media so everyone can go follow you. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, sounds like we got a dog fight on our hands January 13th. Westin Wilson looking to make a show out of it. Westin, thank you so much for joining me, man. Sincerely, kick some ass, and afterwards we'll catch up too, okay?
All right. Thanks, Jake. I appreciate it.
Westin Wilson.
It's the only way to win.
Is he one of the only guys I know that has a superhero name? Peter Parker, Bruce Banner,
Wade Wilson.
Clark Kent, Wade Wilson, and now Westin Wilson.
Yep.